Hello there, Capricorn. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly in-depth tarot forecast. So I am breaking the month down into 5 equal increments, starting with the first ones beginning November 29th and running through December 5th, and then the last one will actually take us through January 2nd. So November 29th through December 5th is actually what we're looking at right now. I do think it's important to break the month down and not try to do the whole forecast and just look at a few energies for that. Those of you who are watching, what you need to know is that this is a general reading for Capricorn, meaning that for most Capricorns, most of this will hold true, but for some of you, it's not. And you may want to check your rising sign or your moon sign if you feel like it's not resonating with you. This also means when I say a general reading, it means I'm not asking about just your love life or just your career life or just your financial life or just your health or anything like that. I am asking Spirit to show me the main themes about what's coming up for you during this time frame. Okay? So what else do you guys need to know as you're watching this video with me? You need to know that this video is for Capricorn, meaning it is for Capricorn. It is about Capricorn. It is not about you. If you are a cross-watcher, you are welcome to be here. However, energies are not reversible on my channel. My view is that that's pretty sloppy reading. If I don't know who I'm reading for, I don't really think I'm doing a good job for you. Okay? So energies are not reversible. If you're a Capricorn and you're watching this, I'm expecting that at least some good, significant parts of this are applying to you. If you're not a Capricorn and you're interested in finding out about Capricorn, that's fine. Just remember I am talking about Capricorn or to Capricorn, not about you, not to you. Okay? Now, having put that disclaimer out there, let's just start looking at what we've got for you guys. First, we are looking at your environment, and your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. What I'm seeing is that Capricorns, there's something going on in your environment where somebody is doing something behind your back or sneaky. And I think that you're aware of this. You're aware of this to the point that you know that something's up. You're just not exactly sure what, and you're having a hard time putting your fingers on exactly what that information might be that would tell you this. I think that whatever this is that somebody is up to behind your back, it is causing some type of tower situation in your environment. And I think that part of this tower situation is that you are dealing with somebody who is flighty and who is not committed. There's somebody who is always looking for the new, the bright, the shiny, the thing that's still glittery, and they like to be a part of that new thing, but once things get into a routine or get old or get settled, they start to get bored. So that's part of what's going on with this tower situation. Now I am starting something new this month for everybody except for Aries and Taurus. I started it after them with Geminis. But I'm going to look at expanded. I'm going to take some section of the reading for each week and I'm going to expand it out and see more specifically what that's about. Usually I don't pick a section this early in the reading to look at, but I think because of this tower situation where something that makes you feel secure and safe is suddenly and unexpectedly being taken away from you or taken out of your experience, I want to look at that a little bit more closely so that you can be prepared and sort of have a heads up. So that's what our expanded is actually going to be about today. And the link to get the expanded is going to be down below my in the description box. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I had to pause the video. Got dust in my throat. Didn't want to cough in you guys' ear. The next thing that I'm looking at, though, is your subconscious leanings. And I've got those cards right in front of me. It does look like there's something that you're thinking about that has you feeling a little bit stuck or a little paralyzed. You're not sure how to move forward with this situation. The key with this, though, is that where you are feeling restricted, this is just something about your perspective. Okay, this is something in how you're looking at this situation. If you could step back and detach a little bit and look at this from a more independent view, then what you would find is that you're really not stuck at all. It's only you that's keeping you in this position. All right, what else do we have in your subconscious leanings? Whatever this is that has you feeling stuck, it's not working for you. Okay? It's a good thing that it's your own perspective, because you can change that, because it's really not working for you. And what it's doing is it's putting you in a situation where you feel like you don't have enough. All right? So you definitely, whatever this is, you want to step, you want to look at this. You want to start feeling like, you want to start looking at this from a detached perspective. Imagine telling your postman about this situation and imagine what their reaction might be. Somebody who doesn't know anybody involved, somebody who is just, a complete bystander. How would they respond to the story that you would tell them? And that'll give you a more detached way to look at this. That's what I'm recommending here. Now, I do want to say the other thing, that where it looks like you're not feeling like you have enough, this can also be about where you're actually missing a person. And so I think that for most of you, this is going to be feeling like you don't have enough. But for a significant amount, 20 to 30% of you, it's going to be more about missing a person. So subconscious leanings having to do with something where you have yourself stuck, you have yourself sort of grinding gears and not moving forward. It's not working out for you, and it has you in this position of feeling like you don't have enough, either of finances or of affection. All right. Next, we're looking at learning style and communication style. Money figures big in learning style here. I think that there's been some kind of delay in money or finances coming to you at this point, and I think that you are definitely making those phone calls or sending those emails, doing your research to find out when this money is actually going to make it to you. I do feel like what you're actually learning about that isn't terrible news. It is going to make it to you. It looks to me like you may be finding out that there's a delay and how long that delay is, and I don't think you're thrilled at all about that. But I still feel like you are seeing that it is coming in. Now, also in learning style, I think there is a lot that you're curious about, a lot that you're learning about just from participating in different experiences than what you normally do during this time frame. For some of you, I think you may be participating in different experiences than what you normally do because somebody in your sphere of influence has talked you into doing that. La da da da. Now, let's look at communication style. There are definitely some people that you're being very quiet with right now. There's just not a lot of communication going on. I think maybe you like to communicate with these people more when there are things that are good happening in your life. And I think that right now you're not feeling like what's happening is good enough to really talk about a lot. So this could be parents or somebody that you're trying to impress, something along those lines. Now, also communication style. I feel like there's somebody in your sphere of influence that you have a lot that you would like to say, that if you would say it, it would be sharp, it would be cutting. And I think that you're holding back. I think that you don't want to be sharp or cutting with this person, so you are holding back. And I feel like some of you, the ulterior motive for not wanting to be sharp or cutting with this person is because of another person. You know, there's another person that you feel like that would offend them if you said certain things to certain people. And so you're holding back really on their behalf or for their good. What else do we have for communication style? I do think that you have communication going out to and coming in from quite a few people who are not near you. So this can be emails, this can be text messages, this can be video conference calls, this can be phone calls. But I do feel like there's a lot of communication going out to people who are not so close to you. And it looks like those people are able to help you with clearing up some of the confusion that may be a part of your life at this particular time. All right, so that's learning and communication style. Next, we want to look at work. We're looking at work. Okay, so I feel like actually you're really enjoying work, and work is having some positive benefits for you besides just the money right now. There may be something that is allowing you to sort of pamper yourself. Maybe work is sending you on a business trip to a place you've always wanted to be, and you're able to tack on a couple extra days to be a tourist there or to visit friends there. But there's something going on where work is feeling pretty good to you, and it is feeling like there's something happening at work that is making you feel pampered. Yeah, we're going to say that. It could also be that you have somebody at work that you're highly attracted to. I don't want to go down that road on this storyline, because first of all, I'm not feeling like that's the majority of you, but secondly, I feel like this has the potential to wreak so much havoc that I just don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to give it that energy. Okay, so we're done with that option here. And I do feel like even though work can feel really good, it can feel like it's giving you the chance to be pampered. I also feel like there's a lot of unhappiness at work, and I feel like that unhappiness is not so much yours as much as it's around you. It's almost like I feel like you've sort of like been dropped into the center of this chaos and unhappiness that is just sort of floating around. And I think it's influencing your bubble, so to speak. Okay? Because we all have our own bubble. We have our own bubble of thoughts, our own sphere of influence. We have our own bubble. I think that the people around you being so unhappy is actually influencing your bubble, even though you do have this situation at work that's making you feel pampered. And then also involved with work right now, you have a lot of communication going on. You may really be having to stay on your toes to keep up with everything that's going on around you. So lots and lots of communication. If you're in sales, this could be lots and lots of sales, but lots of activity. Lots of activity, especially verbal activity. La da 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 da. Next thing that we are looking at, Capricorns, talks to me about the part of your personality that's being grown or expanded right now. I do feel like there's something going on that you're confused about at the moment. And in spite of that confusion, maybe even because of this confusion, you are making sure to take care of your budget, making sure that everything is covered that you need to have covered, making sure you're not doing impulse spending, making sure you're doing everything you can to make sure you have the money coming in to cover everything that is in your budget. Okay? So, the other thing that's going on here, yeah, I think confusion is motivating that. And I think there's something going on where you're letting somebody know that you're not too happy with them. I do think you're communicating to somebody that, you know what, I really don't appreciate this thing that you did. It doesn't make me feel very hot towards you at all. That's what I think is going on here, bottom line. All right, next thing that we are looking at is those things that you stand for. Now, this is going to be something that somebody wants to talk to you about. They may even confront you about this, or they may ask you to explain it. But on some level, you have to defend or explain this situation, okay? So we're going to look at what is this that you're defending or explaining, and then we're going to look at how that other person views you after the conversation, okay? So what we have showing up is we see you being very self-sufficient, taking care of business, doing your own thing. However, things aren't going really smoothly for you, even though you are taking care of business and doing everything that you're supposed to be doing to have things coming up roses. Things aren't moving very smoothly. And I think that part of the reason things aren't moving very smoothly have to do with some of the relationships that you have in your sphere of influence, whether those relationships are ones that are business relationships or whether they're personal relationships. I would lean more towards business here, but it doesn't have to be. I just don't have any cups cards here except for one, and I just, like I said, I'm not sure that this is going to be in a personal relationship. This is probably going to be more business. So how this other person sees you after you've had this conversation with them is that they feel like you're not competing with other people. You're not allowing yourself to be distracted. You're really focused on what you're doing. They also feel like you have some kind of gift, and that they feel you're offering this gift to the world, although the world may not see this gift yet. That's what they're thinking. They're thinking you have this gift that you're offering to the world, but the world doesn't really see, doesn't acknowledge, or doesn't appreciate this gift at this point in time. I don't think that this person feels like the story is over, but it does look like, and this sort of lines up with the idea that relationships aren't so hot. This may be that, you have to really work on promoting whatever it is that you're offering to the world in a way that people appreciate it and understand it. But anyway, this is what's coming up here. Okay? I like it because it looks like your person isn't seeing what you're saying so much differently than what you've actually said. And sometimes the difference can be pretty vast. Seems like they've actually been able to listen to you and see what you're talking about. All right, next thing that we're looking at, Capricorn, is your flex point. This is where you have some type of lesson or experience, and then as you incorporate that lesson or experience into your life, we see what happens here. So, flex point, lesson, or experience. Oh, wow. There has been a decision made about you, and this is a fair decision. It has been made in a fair way. This is not a corrupt decision, Capricorn. It's a fair decision that has been made about you, and this decision actually leaves you open to a lot of different options. So I'm going to say that whatever this decision is, it freed you from some type of obligation or responsibility. And so as somebody made that decision and you started looking at all your options now, because now you're free to go with different options, I think that you started off as daydreaming about them and just trying to imagine what they all could be, maybe even brainstorming. And then the final part of this lesson or experience is you really getting focused in, thinking about what would be the best option for you and beginning to take steps towards that particular option. Some of you may even be going back to school. Not all of you, but some of you may be going back for some kind of training at this point. Okay? So that's your flex. Let's see what else is going on at the same time. La da la da da da. La da da da. You do have a decision to make here. And your decision has to do with this idea of staying in this place of not moving forward, not healing, staying in this really negative, I'm so injured, I'm the victim type place, or coming into a place of forgiveness and letting something go, letting bygones be bygones. And so as you're looking at these options, after somebody's made this decision, as you're focusing on what you're going to do next, part of being successful with whatever you're going to do next, it depends on this decision of what type of energy am I staying in. Am I staying in victim energy, or am I taking my power back and letting that be in the past and focusing on the present as I forgive that other person for being who they are or how they are or whatever? What else is going on at this time? So Capricorn, Capricorn, Capricorn. You're actually finding some happiness, which tells me that you're not going to stay in victim mentality very long. That's not the decision that you make here. You are finding some happiness. I think that you're finding plenty of support around you. And so even though this has been something sudden that happened to you, a sudden decision that was made about you, and you have all these options now, I don't feel like you're feeling left out in the cold at all. In fact, I feel like you may be feeling that this is a blessing in disguise. But I also feel like you have mixed emotions on this. So where you may feel like this was a blessing in disguise and this really opened some doors for you that you didn't even know were there, at the same time I do see you throwing a huge, massive fit about this. So this could be that you're deciding to take somebody to court. This could be as simple as calling somebody up and, just showing them up one side and down the other. But definitely there's a fit. Maybe even you're just talking to somebody in your personal sphere of influence about this and just venting. But there's definitely this idea of just this volcano of emotions coming out, even at the same time that you're choosing forgiveness over the victim mentality. So it could be that, these are actually happening simultaneously. Maybe you're going into victim mentality for a little while and then choosing to come into a place of forgiveness and letting go and being in the present. That makes you feel happy. That keeps you from feeling left out. But there's still this seed of resentment that didn't come out yet, and that ends up still coming out. Okay? In the form of a volcanic explosion of emotion. And this could be stress too. This could be stress as an after effect that's coming out as well for some of you. Now, looking at where you are at the end of this particular time frame, Capricorn, I see you as being somebody who is really happy with somebody in your life. You're feeling loved and you're feeling love. I think there's somebody who comes in suddenly, like that knight in shining armor that comes in to rescue you. And I think that they are definitely collaborating with you. You guys are spending time together. Maybe you're hanging out. There's a definite warning in the way this person shows up in your spread, though. This is another one of those people that they like something that is new and fresh and still has all the glitter and the sunshine on it. And then once it gets to be something a little bit more old, a little bit more routine, then they're out the door. So we basically see you starting the spread in your home environment dealing with somebody like that. And we see you ending this spread coming into a good place with somebody like that. But I'm always very concerned when I see somebody coming into a good place with someone like that, because I'm expecting the hammer to fall once this person gets tired of whatever this is that's new. So be careful. Be careful. Be aware. We're going to look at your next week here in a few minutes, so you'll kind of know how careful you should be of this person whenever we do that, because if they are a major influence, then they will show up in that read. But for right now, I am going to look at this home environment. I'm going to look at this major shakeup, this thing that, there is mystery around, and about this person that is kind of flighty. We're going to look at all of that and sort out what is it that's actually going on in your environment that's causing such a big shakeup. Why is that happening? Okay, so I'm going to look at that, and then I'm going to take a break, and then I'll come back and we'll do your next week. So thank you for being here. I will see you soon. Hello again, Capricorn. We are here this time to look at, as my cards start going 15 different directions, to look at the week from December the 6th through the 12th. Let me pick up and start shuffling again. Looks like there's a lot on your mind this week. Generally, that's what happens. That's why cards start falling all over the place. That was too many for me to actually put those down, though, so that's why we are continuing to shuffle. Just a little reminder for those of you who are cross-watching, this is Capricorn's reading. This is about Capricorn. This is for Capricorn on my channel. Energies are not reversible. I am not reading for Capricorn, or maybe somebody who's interested in Capricorn and watching this video. No. No. No, I'm not that sloppy of a reader. I know who I'm reading for. This is for a Capricorn, about Capricorn. Okay? You guys are welcome to be here. Just please don't think that this is about you or for you. It's not. If you want something that's about you or for you, check out your sign. Also, those of you who don't relate to this, who are Capricorns, you may want to check your moon or your rising sign. They tell me sometimes that works as well. It's a good thing to experiment with me. For me, my sign is the same as my sun sign, and so usually my sun sign, I usually see my love life, and my rising sign, I normally see my career life. So, but I don't know if everybody's the same way. So it might be different for everybody. Most of this will apply to most of the Capricorns who watch this video. But all of it won't apply to all of you, just because that might be numerically, that's not a word, numerically impossible. I don't know. Maybe all of it applies to all of you. But I'm going to say that most of it applies to most of you. La da, la da, 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 da. I feel like I skipped a card somewhere. Did I? I did. That's interesting. Spirit's kind of shaking things up. As long as I've been doing this spread, I've been doing this spread since 2012. This is the first spread that I learned that's actually a formal spread. It's called the Tree of Life. Of course, I've modified it a little bit to fit myself. Anyway, let's look at your environment. Environment for Capricorn during the week from December 6th through the 12th. Ooh, some kind of truth has come out about your environment that I don't think you were so thrilled to find out about, and I think that you are not talking about it. Not talking about it. Although, in spite of this truth, I do see your environment as one that's very supportive financially. There's a lot of financial abundance having to do with your environment in spite of this truth that's come out. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Isn't it? Usually if a truth comes out, it's like the water heater just broke, and that's going to cost you. I don't see that. Whatever truth came out doesn't seem to be hurting you financially. Maybe the truth is that the neighbor had a survey done because they were going to sell their house, and you actually have 2 feet more of yard on one side or the other. I think that's true for one of you. All right. Let's look at subconscious leanings. What's on your mind subconsciously? Oh, you're having a pity party, Capricorn. Don't do that. You're having a pity party. We don't want a pity party. So this is one of those things that this is why you get a reading ahead of time, so you can head off this energy and not totally live in it. So having this pity party, I think, you want to head that off at the pass, even if it is at a subconscious level, because when we have a pity party, we miss the opportunities that are around us because we're too busy thinking about how we're in victim mentality and this happened and that happened and poor me. Okay? Also, in your subconscious leanings at this point is that there is an opportunity that you've heard about, but to take this opportunity, you would have to go away from home. And I think this is why you have the pity party. You don't really want to go away from home, but you do really want this opportunity. And so you're kind of feeling like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, and you're feeling sorry for yourself here. Why can't this opportunity be closer? All right? Head that off at the pass. So here's the thing. If you want this opportunity and it comes up, but it's far away, guess what? Don't take it as, oh, poor me. Take it as, oh, my ideal manifestation, which is this thing, this opportunity that I want, but closer to home, is that much closer to coming in. I'm almost there. Let's keep manifesting the good stuff. All right? That's the way to turn that situation around for yourself. All right, but I'm just me. That's just my opinion. You guys do whatever you want to do. Obviously, right? Now, looking at learning style and also communication style during this particular time frame, I do think you're finding out some information about some things that you feel very strongly about during this time frame, maybe even doing research. I also feel like there is something that you have been working on learning or understanding for a while, and you finally get it. Maybe you have completed the top level of your favorite video game. I don't know. Maybe you have just completed your PhD for your class and you've defended your thesis and it's all done. Maybe, no, I'm not going to keep going with the maybes. You guys get the picture. Something is complete. All right. And what else do we have about learning style? Once again, we do see you learning about money, 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 honey. What is this telling me, though? What is it? What type of learning do we have going on here? This is interesting. I think you're learning something about giving money. Possibly even what I'm picking up on is possibly some of you are actually learning about tithing. If you don't know what tithing is, that's okay. This is not for you. You're not learning about it yet. But for others of you, I feel like you are learning about giving, just in general giving, and some of the laws of the universe that circle around giving. Okay? La da 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 da. Communication style. What do we have coming up here? I kind of feel like there are certain things that you are sort of rushing onto the scene to communicate, and then you're rushing away. I don't know if you're rushing away to go communicate to somebody else or to go do something else, but it just seems like you're just rushing in to say something and then rushing back out again. I don't think you're taking time to hear what anybody else has to say, by the way. You might want to make note of that. That might be important. And next thing, what do we have as communication style? All right, guys. So I'm just going to drag you under the bus. You guys know that I don't mince words. I don't try to misrepresent anything. So put your seatbelt on because I'm fixing to drag you under the bus here. Looks to me like your communication style during this particular week, people, you want to be really careful because it's going to be super tempting for you to come across with big ego and sort of bulldoze your way through. First of all, that's not the most attractive way to handle communication. Secondly, it's just rude. And thirdly, it doesn't usually get you very far. Whatever your intentions are with your conversation doesn't usually get you very far. Okay, so you want to pay attention to yourself. Try to keep that in check a little bit. All right. And, you know, like I said, most of this will apply to most of you. There could be some of you out there that this doesn't apply to at all. No need to put anything in the comments on it. I'm not trying to stir anything up here. I'm just telling you what I see. Okay? What else do we have about communication style? I do think that there are people that you're communicating with, and those communications are very friendly. They're very laid back. But I also think that at the same time, they're sort of laying the groundwork for some kind of financial benefit, mutual financial benefit in the future, not right away, not this week, but I see the financial benefit coming up. Okay? So that's learning and communication style. Next thing that we have coming up talks to me about work. Okay, so what do we have here when it comes to work? You guys have two major arcana when it comes to work during this particular week. What is this? First of all, you're really good at what you do. That's the first thing that shows up here. And you're very focused on it during this time frame. You could be really busy, or you could be really focusing on doing something new, some new aspect of work, but you're definitely focused when it comes to work during this time frame. And I think you're also hopeful about what's going to come out of your focus on this new branch or this new thing that you're doing. I think the fact that you're good at what you normally do and you're focusing on this new thing, I think that you're gonna get good at this new thing as well. And so I think that you're hopeful that, you know, either if this is your own business, that this is going to bring more income to you, or if you're working for somebody else, you could be very hopeful that this will be something that you know, brings in a raise or a promotion, but, you know, some kind of attention that is obviously good. Let's look at inner work. Inner work has to do with following your intuition during this time frame, and I do see you actually practicing using your intuition. It looks like Capricorns, a lot of you are pretty good at that already, but I think that you may be working on expanding. No, that's not right. Not expanding your intuition. You're working on figuring out when you can trust your intuition and when it's not really your intuition. Okay? So what I'm trying to say is when we're first learning about our intuition and we know that we have it, you know, sometimes we have those moments like, oh, I had that feeling at the store I needed to pick up paper towels, but I didn't think so. And then you get home and you're out of paper towels. You know, maybe your guests have gone through them or whatever. You know, you can have those feelings, those little nudges, and not pay attention to them, and later on realize, oh, I should have done that. I should have paid attention to that. This, to me, talks about paying attention to that. The other thing that can happen when we're in the beginning of this is we can intentionally tune in and we can hear something from spirit, and then we can question, well, is that really from spirit or is that just what I want personally? And then we sort of discount it because we think, well, maybe that's just our ego driving us. Maybe that's not really what spirit has to say. So this is about learning how to tell the difference about when spirit is talking to us and when we are just talking. As far as intuition, and really coming to that point where we know how to trust our intuition much more than we did before because we know how to recognize our intuition. All right? So next, Capricorn, what we're looking at is that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. I do see you as being very independent, self-sufficient. It looks to me like you may be walking away from some type of relationship or partnership. Could be business, could be otherwise. And, you know, you are very self-sufficient. However, it looks like you're really stressed out by this. And I think I'm going to do an expanded reading on this part of it. I want to know, why are you so stressed out? This card that I have that shows independence and self-sufficiency is generally not stressed out. This generally is a happy type of card. So I want to see what's going on there. Why do we have that kind of contradiction? What is the responsibility that you're actually putting down? Are you walking away from a relationship? Are you walking away from a job or a gig? What's happening there? And then why are you so stressed out about it? That's what we want to know. Inquiring minds want to know, right? I want to know. I hope you guys want to know because I'm going to do a reading on it. And you guys can find out if you would like. Next thing we're looking at, though, talks to me about those things that you stand for. So somebody's wanted to talk to you about this. Maybe they wanted an explanation. Maybe they wanted to confront you. Either way, somebody has wanted to talk to you about this situation. And the situation is, the situation, Capricorn, is that you've gone back to something that didn't treat you very well before. And in going back to this thing that didn't treat you very well before, you're also not taking very good care of yourself either. So now something else is not treating you well, you're not treating you well, and you're not happy, and your home life isn't happy, and your money isn't happy. Your wallet isn't happy, okay? So somebody is asking you to explain the situation. How did you get into this situation? Why did you get into this situation? Type of thing. And so you've talked to them about the situation. You've had to defend yourself for this. You know, this is why I did this. This is why I'm more focused on this person than on me, or on this situation than me, the job than me, whatever that is. And yeah, it is costing me in my home life, or it is costing me in my wallet or my pocketbook. Okay? So how this person sees you after you've had a conversation about this situation, they see you as somebody who is still fighting. There's something that you're fighting. I feel like it's not so much a fight as much as it's you're trying to prove something to yourself. And so you're still doing whatever it takes to prove that to yourself, but you've been released. You don't have to prove it to anybody. That's how they see you. They see you as somebody who's been released. You don't have to prove this to anybody. And they also see you as somebody who shooting high enough in your personal relationships. They see you as somebody who is not expecting much out of other people. You're expecting to be the one that pulls all the weight in any relationship that you get into. You're not expecting somebody to pull the weight. That's how they see you in this relationship that you're talking about. And I feel like they see you this way really in all relationships, that you always have to be the giver, the giver, the giver, the giver. Always you. That can't feel really good if they're right. All right. Let's look next at your flex point. Flex point or flex period is where you have a lesson or experience that sort of changes the direction that you're headed into, shapes things up a little bit differently for you. And then we're going to look at what happens as you incorporate that lesson or experience into your life. So basically almost the same exact time. And then after that, we'll look at where you are at the end of this week. So lesson or experience. Interesting. You're doing something that actually inspires people around you, and I don't think that you even realize you're inspiring people around you. And what you're doing is you're holding your own. Somebody has made an unfair decision against you, and you are holding your own on this. You know, maybe you're fighting this decision. Or it could also be, you don't even necessarily have to be fighting this decision as much as you could just be fighting in your own mind to keep your self-esteem up because what they did was not fair. All right? But you're working on holding your own there, one way or the other. La, da, 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 da. What's going on at the same time? This is really interesting. You're feeling left out, but you're happy. You're feeling left out, but you're happy. You're full of contradictions this week, Capricorns. You're feeling left out, but you're happy. And there is some kind of healing coming to you. And I feel like this is, yeah. So you're feeling left out, but you're happy. And I feel like there's some kind of healing. This could be actually physical healing that you need. Maybe you can't go to work because you have a broken bone or you have something that needs to be healed. Oh, maybe you're in quarantine. Anyway, you are feeling left out, but you're happy about it. And there is healing during this time frame. And so, you know, you're happy, you're healing, but you're not able to socialize. You're feeling left out. Okay? That's one of the things that's happening there. The unjust decision could be somebody might have told you to quarantine when you didn't really need to quarantine, when you weren't really actually, well, you're sick because we have the healing coming in. Wonder what that unjust decision was. All right. La da 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 da. You know, we looked at subconscious leanings. I think we're also going to look at this lesson or experience. I want to know more about that. We're going to put both of those in this particular extended reading, or maybe I'll do 2 extended readings and you can pick which one you want to hear about. Maybe that's what I'll do because I want to keep the expanded shorter. Okay, but I do want to know what's that unjust decision, because it looks like it has you feeling happy even though you're feeling left out. It does have some healing coming in. What else is going on at the same time? You're having an epiphany. You're getting an idea. You're getting an understanding about something that you haven't had before, and it makes pieces of the puzzle sort of click together for you in lots of different points in life. And this has got you on a new beginning, and this new beginning does involve cutting out from your sphere of influence any kind of negative influence that really holds you back from this wonderful new beginning that you have this epiphany over. Where do we see you at the end of the week? There is somebody that you were partnered up with before that you are no longer partnered up with. I don't think you're very happy about this. In fact, I think that you're actually pretty confused about it, to be honest with you. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to do an expanded based on your subconscious leanings. I'm also going to do an expanded based on your lesson or experience. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do 1 or 2 expandeds on all that. Probably 2, I think. And then I'll come back and I'll look at the next week for you. See you soon. Hello there, Capricorn. Thank you so much for being here. This time we are looking at the week from December the 13th through December the 19th. I'm just putting a nice shuffle on the cards before we get started. As I do that, let me remind everybody who is cross-watching, you are welcome to be here, but please do not be confused. This is a reading that is for Capricorn, and it is about Capricorn. Energies are not vice versa on my channel. Thank you very much. Most of this will apply to most of you Capricorns. This is a general reading, so most of it will apply to most of you. If you find that it doesn't seem like it's applying, then you may want to check your rising sign or your moon sign. I do want to thank all of you as I put these cards down for watching. Also for liking and sharing this video if you know somebody else that might benefit from it. And then also, of course, for Super Chat, whenever we have Super Chat possibilities. And thank you for booking readings and private Reiki sessions with me. It is because of all of you guys' support at every single level that I am able to do what I love to do for my living. If you like my readings and you find them helpful, feel free to go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you know whenever I upload something new and helpful, hopefully helpful. Alrighty. Let's start with your environment, Capricorns. Okay, what's happening here? It looks like there's something going on here where things are not really in balance. Everything is not working together the way that it should. And it may be that you're feeling like you're a little bit short on finances to get this going back into the right direction, because I do show there is some kind of bad news coming in about finances or about material goods. And when I say bad news, I just mean news that we would rather not hear. Everybody wants to hear that they've won the lottery. Not everybody wants that the water heater went out. So there you go. Or the rent is going up. All right, let's look at subconscious leanings, Capricorn. Looks to me like you have some hazy information around a situation where you may be falling in love, or you may be finding some kind of activity or hobby or project that you are really enamored by. And I feel like that confusion around here, that feeling of not knowing the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, has you worried about not being able to move forward with this. So that's what your subconscious leanings are dealing with. Let's look at learning style and communication style as we go through this particular time frame. I do feel like you've got a lot on your plate as far as learning goes, and I think some days are better than others for you to pick up new information during this week. La da da da. It looks to me like there may be some things going on with your family that you are finding out about that may be distracting you from the other things that you're trying to learn during this time frame. However, I do believe that whatever it is that you're learning, you are successful in this. You could be completing some type of orientation or some type of class or seminar, but there is something here definitely about completing some type of learning. All right, next thing that we are looking at talks to me about communication style. I think because you are really busy during this time frame, communication is one of those things that's kind of up and down with you. Sometimes people will be hearing from you, and sometimes they won't, because you'll be focused on other things during this time frame. I would say, though, that when you are communicating, you're communicating pretty solidly. I don't think anybody really has any room to say they don't understand what you're talking about here. And I think that once things loosen up for you, there is quite a bit of communication going out between you and somebody else, back and forth, probably between you and a lot of people. But that's going to be more towards the end of the week. Now, let's look at work. It does look like you're gearing up for something at work. For some of you, this may be a big court case that you're gearing up for, but there's definitely some type of a decision, maybe a hearing. Maybe you are gearing up to make a presentation to a client or to one of the higher ups, one of the bosses, company owners, CEOs, something like that. And it looks to me like whatever this is that you're gearing up for, you really don't have any plans beyond this. Like once this presentation is made or whatever it is you're gearing up for, once this is done, then there's not really anything else written in on the calendar yet. I get the sense that whatever this is that you're doing, how well this goes is going to really be impacting the future of your work situation, either for your company or for yourself in person. La da da da, inner work. You're really trying to be fair and down to earth and grounded. Whenever I look at inner work, it seems to me that there is a lot of frustration that is sort of just below the surface, and it looks to me like you're really trying to make sure that that doesn't simmer out in any kind of inappropriate way as you go through this time frame. So inner work is dealing with that frustration in a way that's healthy and that doesn't harm anyone else. All right. Next thing we're looking at is, where are you growing or expanding during this time frame? Looks to me like there's something going on with a contract or an agreement that you are walking away from or getting out of in some way. And I think what you're doing is you're telling other people around you who know particular information, you are telling them or asking them to keep their lips zipped, that you don't want them to share information, especially with particular people. I think in general you don't want word getting around about this, about something to do with this contract that you're getting out of. It may be that you're going into something and you had a non-compete clause, or maybe you just don't want people to know that you're getting out of this contract or agreement. Either way, you're asking people to hold back on sharing information. You're asking them basically not to do that, not to share information. La da da da. One word of warning though, children have big mouths. Can't say you haven't been warned. For those of you that would apply to. Next thing we're looking at are those things that you stand for. Now this is going to be something that someone has wanted to talk to you about. They have either had a conversation with you, wanted you to explain something, or maybe they've even confronted you about whatever this is, okay? And so there's a situation where you have been really, really focused, and you've been really focused on creating a partnership in this situation. This could be a romantic partnership. I won't take that off the table, but we could also be talking about a business partnership or even just a friendship. And so you've been really focused on creating this, and I think you've even, made the offer or made the invitation to somebody else. You may not have come out and said, I would really like to be your friend, or I would really like it if we could get together. But I feel like this is more of invitations to go do things together, or invitations to meet type of thing here that you've been doing. Okay. This other person, once you have this conversation, this other person sees you as being really in a situation where you are obsessed with this idea of partnering up, and they feel like you are going to get exactly what you want, and that you're going to be very happy about it. It's going to be something that makes you feel really secure once that happens. Interesting. So you're feeling focused. They're saying you're obsessed. The truth is always his story, her story, and the story in between. Alrighty, let's look at flex point. This is where you have a lesson or experience that sort of changes the direction of how things are going for you, and then we'll look at what happens as you incorporate that into your life. So basically almost simultaneously, if not completely simultaneously. La da 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 da. Flex point. You really have feelings for somebody who's in and out. They have total player energy. They're fine as long as something is new or something's a challenge. And then as soon as it's not challenging and it's boring anymore, they're gone. And I think you're actually making a decision that you are willing to pursue a situationship with this person. Okay? I can't really call it a relationship when it's somebody that comes and goes and is there when it's convenient and not when it's not. At the same time, what do we have going on? You're feeling like things are easing up for you financially, but you are very disappointed about something. You're very disappointed about something. Even as things are going in the right direction, things are going really well. So I think financially things are going really well for you, but there's some kind of disappointment that's tied into that. Why is that? That's what we're going to expand. I was going to skip an expanded since we did 2 expanded for last week, but I think I want to expand on that because I don't understand why you would be disappointed if things are going well and financially things are easing up. Something doesn't make sense there. Capricorns, you guys have been full of enigmas last week and this week. Okay, so I want to leave these cards down because I want to look at all these together, but that's what we're going to look at. I'm going to set those aside in a second here. What else is going on as you're making this decision to move forward with this person who's in and out and flighty? Well, it definitely feels like you're being very successful with this decision, with pursuing this goal. You're definitely feeling successful. There's a lot of chemistry, and I think you're really enjoying that chemistry, if you know what I mean. Okay? That's interesting. So why the disappointment? All right. Where are you at the end of the week? Where we see you at the end of the week is you're doing a whole lot of communicating with somebody who is from your past, but you're not really moving forward with them. It's almost like you're putting them on hold. You're putting them on the back burner. Maybe that's where that disappointment comes in. Okay, we're going to take a peek at this. It looks like things are going good with the person who's flighty in and out, at least for right now. You're pretty happy about it. You've got somebody from the past that's showing up. You're putting them on hold. But that's where we see you at the end of the week. But I do want to take a peek at this point of things are easing up for you financially. Things are going well in general, but you're feeling disappointed. And things may be easing up for you more than financially as well. But we're going to dig into that a little bit more. We're going to find out why there's disappointment in the middle of these 2 good messages. All right, but for right now, let me wrap up this week. I'll give you a link to the expanded down below, and I'll see you in a few minutes, and then we'll look at next week. Hello again, Capricorn. This time we're looking at December the 20th through the 26th. Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas to those of you who celebrate Christmas. I'm excited to see what kind of energies come up around Christmas time, hopefully good ones. We've had a rough year. It would be nice. It would be nice to have some good energies show up finally. Let's see. For the holiday. Okay, Capricorn, cards are down. Let's take a peek at your environment during this particular time frame. Looks to me like you're traveling, but you're doing it in some kind of non-traditional way. You're not traveling in the same way that you would normally travel, or maybe even not traveling to the same place that you would normally travel to. But I do see you being happy in that place. This is happy relationships, happy finances, so things are working well for you in whatever way that you're traveling here, even if it is kind of non-traditional, not what you would normally do for the holiday. What else do we have? Looking at your subconscious leanings during this time frame, you do have a lot that you're trying to get taken care of, and you're trying to cover it all And I think that you're actually, from the outside, people think that you're covering it pretty gracefully. You may feel pretty stressed out. And in fact, I do think that you feel pretty stressed out. You would really like to have a meltdown and, and throw a fit about something during this time frame, but it's only in your subconscious. So I have to say, I don't see you actually, losing control of your emotions to the point that you actually do have the meltdown. But I think that, mentally you're kind of thinking, oh, it would be so easy for me to just lose my stuff right now. So you are thinking about that, and I think that some of that has to do with the idea that you just really don't enjoy the company of at least one of the people that you're around during this time frame. All right, so you're being nice. You're being nice to somebody, holding back with somebody from having a meltdown about them during this time frame. Families can be tough when we get together with families, can't they? All right, let's look at learning style and also communication style during this particular time frame. I don't see that you're really learning as much as you normally would. You definitely are paying attention to your finances at this moment. I think also you are figuring out how to be comfortable on the move. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say about that. I think you're learning about different tips and tricks to be comfortable as you are away from home, on the move. And then also, I think that you're finding out a lot that has a lot of emotion wrapped around of it. So you may be talking to people about their feelings about things, and I think you're finding out some information that you really didn't know before. Now, looking at communication style, it does look like, I do want to say, it looks to me like there is some formal communication going on here, but there's also some very relaxed communication mixed in with that. So this might be, formal communication might be, communicating with somebody that you don't know that well and trying to make sure that you're politically correct as you're communicating with them because you don't know, where their bents lie. So something like that. But there's also a lot of relaxed communication as well, like I said. So this is, where you can just be more open and things can flow more easily. There is somebody that I feel like there's a blockage of communication. I feel like, is this their fence or your fence? I think you're actually putting up a fence between you and somebody else. Not a literal one, but you're definitely putting up some boundaries and saying, you know what, I only want to talk to you about this on this day, or maybe I don't want to talk to you at all, just don't even contact me. But there is somebody that you're putting up boundaries with when it comes to communication. La da da da. There's also somebody that I'm going to say they feel like you're interrogating them. There is somebody that you are trying to get to know, and you are definitely asking them a whole lot of questions, really trying to figure out what makes them tick. Okay, so that is learning and communication style during this time frame. The next thing that I want to look at has to do with work. Not sure how much work is going on. So you may be working at the beginning of the week and sneaking away more towards the end of the week. When is the 25th? Excuse me, 25th is Friday. That makes sense then. Okay, so I do feel like your expenses are definitely outdoing your income for this week. I think that's going to be true for a lot of people celebrating Christmas. And I do see you basically sneaking away from work in the middle of the week, at the beginning of the week. So you may be going to work Monday, Tuesday, maybe. And then I think that a lot of you are going to be traveling more in the middle of the week. Traveling or having some kind of great adventure. I'm going to say traveling. Let's look at work. What is your work? Your work is that you are really excited about something around the holiday, whether it's seeing somebody, whether it's the food. There is something that you're really excited about, and the work is really just to let everything be fair and equitable around this. So basically give everybody a turn. You're not the only one excited about whatever this is. Okay, Capricorns? Next thing we have coming up talks to me about that part of your personality which is growing or expanding during this time frame. There is something that you've been disappointed about, but coming out and being around people is actually making you happy. It's helping you forget about that thing that's disappointing. That was a pretty cut and dry set of cards right there. Kind of cool. All right, next thing that we're looking at talks to me about those things or that thing that you're standing up for, explaining, or defending during this time frame. Somebody does want to talk to you about this and broaches the subject. They may just want an explanation. They may just want to understand what's actually going on here. But in many cases, they could also be confronting you about this. So what we see here is that you are separate from somebody that you used to be partnered with. And I feel like you have, even if they initiated the ending, I think that even if they initiated the ending, which not everybody, that's the case, some of them you actually initiated the ending. But for some of you, even though you didn't necessarily initiate the ending, you have come to a conclusion or a conclusion that, you know what, I'm kind of okay with that. Like, I don't really think that maybe we were such a good partnership together, you know, and there's some healing that comes in here. So, you know, for some of you, yes, you will have cut this off. For others of you, it took you a while to get to the point where you're comfortable with the idea that it is cut off and you're happy about it. So we do have healing coming in here either way, whichever way that went down. Now, how this other person feels about you after you explain this is, number one, they feel like what you did was a defeat, like you took a loss here. This was the loss, is how they're seeing it. They also feel like you're kind of in pity party mode, which is odd to me, because if it shows up that you're healing, seeing you in pity party mode is kind of odd, just kind of odd. And I think that they're feeling like that you're staying in a negative vibe place about this much longer than you should have to. This is so weird, because you are putting off one vibe and they're putting off something that is like it's in the same room, but it's definitely not on the same page. Huh. All right. Let's look next. Let's look next at your flex point. Now this is where we have you actually experiencing something or learning something and coming to an understanding that changes the direction that you're going. So we're going to look at your flex point, we're going to see what's actually going on there, and then we're going to see what's happening as you're incorporating this lesson or experience into your life. So it looks like you're holding back because you feel like you just don't have enough. You don't have enough to give people. And so you're holding back. And I want to see if this has to do with emotions or if this has to do with money, honey. This definitely has to do with emotions. Okay. So it looks to me like you're holding back from somebody emotionally. You feel like you have given and given and given to the point that it's been detrimental to your own self, and so you're holding back. At the same time that this is happening, I feel like you are making a lifestyle change that does include doing more things that actually make you happy. So focusing more on your own happiness, your own health. At the same time, I feel like it's a little bit confusing for you because this is kind of a new thing for you. And so it feels a little bit confusing to be able to do this, to be free enough to actually do this. Okay? So that's what we have going on, and that's all an emotional situation. So probably the idea of not being with somebody makes you free to do things that would actually make you happy that you would not normally have a chance to. So we're happy to see that that's going on. Ultimate fulfillment here, or where we see you at the end of this time frame, basically is standing still. There may be a trip that's actually delayed or postponed, put off, and it looks like, you know, you've got some delays in a few things going on in your world actually at this point. Actually, I think I want to expand that. I want to see what else being actually delayed besides just trip or travel. All right, so, but this is what we've got for this week. So let me go ahead and wrap this up, and then I'll go ahead and do the expanded, and I'll give you guys a link down there in case you're interested to check it out and see what's going on. Okay, see you soon. Hello again, Capricorn. This time we are looking at December the 27th through January 2nd. Let's see what it is that comes up for you during this particular time. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. Okay. All right, let's take a look at your environment. What we have coming up here is you moving away from something. So you may be going back home. You may be traveling, but to me, I feel like this is kind of going back home, going back to that peace and that safety of home, basically. I think that you are really making plans and thinking about what you're going to do once you get home. You know, taking, just we saw that you could be going home late, so this could be that you are, really planning out, okay, what do I need to do first since I've lost some time here, okay? La da da da. Next thing we're looking at talks to me about subconscious leanings. And subconscious leanings have to do with the idea that there's somebody who you're not very happy with at all because they've shown you their true colors, and your opinion of them has gone down as they have shown you their true colors. I feel like whatever type of relationship you have with them, whether it's business, friendship, or otherwise, you feel like you're obligated to keep going on in this relationship. And so even in spite of seeing their true colors and not being happy with them, I think even at a subconscious level, you are deciding that you're still going to continue to move forward regardless. Looking at learning style and communication style for this time frame, definitely doing a lot of learning. There's a lot of truth that's coming out. Some of that truth has to do with money and financial strategies. Bum, 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 bum. Yep. I think that you're also learning something about the idea of some of the things that are unknown, some of the things that happen right in front of our noses that we can't exactly quote unquote see. All right. And then we do have learning about, I really feel like this has to do with work or with business, or if you don't actually work, this could have to do with something that you do to make yourself feel productive. But there's a lot that is going on about work and a project, and how it could impact a community is showing up here for me. Now, looking at your communication style, I think we're going to come back to that one. There's a whole lot that's showing up here, that there is anger, rage showing up here for you Capricorns. And I don't really mean to be freaky, but I can't get away from this idea that there's bloodshed showing up here. I'm not quite sure how that manifests as part of your communication style. I'm going to be really clear here. I don't think this is your blood. Hmm. Okay, Capricorn, I actually shut that last video down because I was just looking at it going, I don't know that I can put this out there. And as I continue to look at these cards and sort of soak in this message, you know, I've made a commitment to Sacred Spirit that whatever comes through, I will pass along. It's the deal. I can't expect Sacred Spirit to keep giving me messages if I don't pass them along. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, that as I was looking at this and just really soaking into this message, I don't think that this has so much to do with you particularly drawing anybody's blood as much, Capricorn, as I feel like this is a bigger prediction than that. In astrology, Capricorn talks about the father figure or the government, you know, the leaders. And so to me, this, I think what we're seeing here actually show up in your reading is something that's much broader, and that it's talking about that there is a situation that's coming during the time from December 27th to January 2nd where government authorities will be shedding blood. And I think that this is not an emotion-based thing. I think that this is policy and procedure that they're following here, which for me, I'm hoping that means that they feel like their life is in danger if they're shedding blood. This could be soldiers, although that was not my first impression. My first impression is more along the lines of civil unrest and the government stepping in to calm things down, so to speak. And I think that's coming. Now what's interesting is, I think it was Virgo, when I did Virgo's expanded reading for the first week of December, I saw people actually leaving work, and things were going well at work, but they were leaving work because they were being called upon to help to deal with civil unrest. And that's, you know, 2 weeks prior to this, maybe even 3 weeks prior to this. So we're still having issues here. We're still having issues here as a world or as a country, but definitely I'm going to say this is definitely including the US. I don't know if that would be worldwide. It's odd that it shows up in a reading that I'm doing for basically the whole English-speaking world, whoever cares to tune in. There's a lot of rage here. There's a lot of anger here. And then as far as you, I'm going to say that you're managing to keep yourself safe and to defend yourself. I mean, if you look here, what you have for this one is the Nine of Wands. If you look here, you're standing stable. Yeah, you've been through some stuff, but you're standing stable. You've also got this wall kind of behind you that you've created that you can go and get behind if you need to. But I see you also kind of out here like, you know, you're on the other side of that wall, kind of where the fray is happening. You know, to help in any way that you can, but not without that protection of that wall to come behind too if you need to. Alright, so I see you as definitely keeping yourself safe and stable, and also sort of trying to help those that you can that might be in a similar situation. That's just a really it's a general read. I asked Spirit to show us the main energies moving through your life, and I guess this is a main energy during this time frame. But when I started this format, I certainly never expected to see something like that. All right, let's move away from world predictions, shall we? Let's get back to you. All right, let's look at work for you. And this is the 27th through the 2nd. I think you're manifesting some really good things at work, and you're happy to be back at work. There are some things that were disappointments that you have dealt with already, but I think you're letting those go. You're just moving on from them. You're not letting those hold you back, and you're certainly not staying in pity party mindset here. You're moving forward and actually enjoying the things that you're manifesting and creating whenever it comes to work. Inner work is really all about being in touch with your emotions and you know, knowing when it's time to forgive and let go and when it's time to just really focus on good things in the future. So really just paying attention to emotions. All right, let's look next at, I'm almost afraid to look at the communication style. We're not going to look at that. I am afraid to look at it. Let's look next at where you're growing or expanding during this time frame. Okay, so I do see you taking some alone time, some time to really sort through things, set some priorities, figure out what it is that you want. And then I think that there's a lot of distracted energy around you. There's a lot of, let's just stick with distraction and chaos. I am going to say that this is chaotic. It's a chaotic time. And I think that it's chaotic because there's a lot of truth that is coming out. And I think that as this truth comes out, I think that you are spending some time by yourself alone to do this, to process this. You may even have already really wanted to go into sort of recluse mode where you were doing some things by yourself already before this truth came out and before everything became chaotic around you. But definitely you are spending some time alone for one reason or the other. I think we are going to look at this though. We are going to see what is this that's coming out. Why are things so chaotic? Why are things so chaotic? And why did you want to go in recluse mode to start with? We are going to look at that. The next thing that, no we aren't, because I already know what I want to look at. I already saw a card over here and I thought, no, I'm going to look at that. We'll hold on to these just in case. We'll see. Alright, let's look next at things that you're standing for during this time frame, standing for, explaining, defending, whatever that might be, however that looks for you. And then we're also going to look at what this other person who you had to stand for or defend to, how they feel about the conversation. Okay? So it looks like you've been going through a whole lot of confusion and you've gone back to something. You've actually revisited the idea of going back to something that you were a part of before, but it left you feeling depleted the last time. And it looks like when you were considering going back, I don't think you got the go-ahead that, okay, yeah, let's get back together, or yeah, come on, let's go ahead and renew this partnership or renew this combination of energy. You basically got turned down whenever you tried to walk back to that situation. And I think that just adds to the confusion around this whole situation for you. So as you're talking about this situation to somebody else, they're seeing you as, hey, you've broke free. You've broke free. And as they're, you know, really thinking this through, they're realizing that whatever this is, it's just temporary anyway. They feel it's just temporary anyway. They feel like sooner or later you'll be able to go back there and those people will take you back, whether it's an employer, an employee, whether that's a person in a relationship. They're going to be, this person feels like, you know, this is just a temporary separation, that you will be able to go back and actually rejoin this person or this company or whatever that situation may be. Okay? I'm a little thrown by what came up earlier. Can you tell? Like that is just still on my mind. All right. Let's look next at your flex period. This is where you learn something or experience something, sort of changes the directions of things for you, and what happens as you incorporate that lesson or experience into your life. Okay. Looking here for my Capricorns, flex period, Capricorns I mean. Okay, so I see you guys being pretty independent and self-sufficient. You guys are very much alert, paying attention to what's going on around you, and you have a good support network. You're definitely not feeling like you're alone here. Okay? All very good things. At the same time that this is going on, I do think that there's some amount of travel that you are canceling. Now sometimes when I get this card, I feel like you're either canceling or delaying. To me, I have to say I feel like you're canceling at this time. And I think that this might have been a trip that had, that maybe you were making with other people as well. I do see that being canceled. And I think that you're seeing that cancellation as a major victory for yourself not to be going there. I think you're happy not to be taking that trip or making that trip. Now, also at the same time, I think that you are very focused. There is something that has been on your mind and bothering you for a while. You have figured out a way to go about dealing with that situation so that you're not feeling paralyzed by it anymore, and you are finding some opportunities that are in front of you. You're no longer paying attention. That was a disappointment, but you're finding those opportunities that are in front of you, and you are moving forward with those. So all of this is really good during the flex period. I'm liking it all. Now let's look at where we see you at the end of the week. There's definitely a big shakeup coming up at the end of the week, and this has to do with the idea that there's somebody coming in with a good an exciting message, basically. And yeah, I think there's something going on where somebody is trying to, well, somebody is paying you back for something that you've done for them in the past, but at the same time, you're dealing with a huge shakeup. So this is what I wanted to look at, is this huge shakeup, and what is that all about? What is that all about? Yeah, and I kind of feel like that's going to give us some insight into this other thing I was going to look at anyway. So we're going to take a peek at that, and then I'll come back your last week of this month. So we're going to take a look at this shakeup and see what's going on there. If there's any advice needed, we may take a peek at what is advice for you during that time frame. And yeah, thank you guys very much for being here. Thank you for all the thumbs ups, the shares, the likes, the subscribes. Thank you definitely for coming to me for private readings and for private Reiki sessions. It is because of all of you guys' support that I'm able to do what I love to do for my living. Everybody have a fantastic, wonderful month, and if I don't see you for a private between now and then I'll see you back here next on the next video. Peace.